Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 249 of your Take Two podcast, the one that has got what you need. Rest in peace, Biz. Rest in peace, Biz. Sorry that we did kind of predict that one, call that one a couple weeks ago, so that was kind of sad to see that news come through. Just wanted to start the show off with a little tribute to Biz Markie. Not really like a movie or TV related kind of guy, I guess, but still important to our. I love that song growing up. How about you?
Oh, 100%. And just shout out to those people that know that he wasn't a one-hit wonder. I saw a few folks out there like, did he have any other hits? Yes, folks. He had much, much more than just a friend out there. He was a legend. That is sad to die so young. Sorry, Biz. R.I.P.
And I do actually, now that I think about it, I want to say he was involved in like TV or something because my kids used to watch Yo Gabba Gabba when they were little, and I swear he came on and did Yo Gabba Gabba every once in a while, like did something with them where it was like he had like his own little section of the show.
Did one of the Gabbas like say he's just a friend like to the other Gabba? I was like, wait, what's up with the blue Gabba, huh?
Like a rhyme with like okay. Rhyme, I swear. So I think so. There you go. It counts, folks.
Checks it off.
Anyway,
that counts.
Welcome to our movie and TV podcast, not just our Rest in Peace podcast. This is episode 249. That means we've been doing this for 249 straight weeks. Quick math tells you that's almost 5 years. We have not taken a break. So today, we're also not taking a break. We've actually outdone ourselves a little bit. We have 11 reviews for you today. A couple major film releases, Gunpowder Milkshake, Space Jam. We're going to wrap up Loki, the season finale of that. We got the last film in the Fear Street trilogy on Netflix. Plus, we had some musical documentaries that I had a chance to check out and some first takes on about 4 different shows across all the different streaming platforms that we just want to let you guys know about. Maybe you want to jump on board. So, lots to talk about today. Brian, are you excited for episode 249?
Why don't you just make 10 louder? Goes to 11.
Let's do 11.
Our reviews go to 11. Everything that we do, guys, we review movies. We give you TV show like first takes, like our first impressions. Then we wrap up their entire series finales, documentaries. Everything that we have, we're going to be covering today. So we hope you guys enjoy it. Of course, if you don't need to fast forward or whatever, we have the timestamps. Just scroll on down to the bottom, jump around. I will tell you this, with Loki, with Space Jam, with pretty much across the board, we will be spoilery, just kind of free-flowing talking for the most part, except for those first takes, obviously. So just check those timestamps. They're down there at the bottom if you need to jump around. Thank you for bearing with us for all of these reviews. There are shows out there that just do one movie a week. Boring.
Yeah, underachievers. Come on, get on our level.
What do they do? Hang out with their family during the week? What the hell?
Man, we're watching stuff.
We're busy. Thank you guys for joining us, Take Two Podcast. Listen, right now in your feed, if you are a Patreon member, you get more Take Two Podcasts. That's at least 2 episodes a month, for as low as $1 a month. Don't believe me? Ask Roy, Craig, Vaughn, Katz, Ryan, Gerald, and Chris, and they will tell you straight up. Oh, I'm sorry, and I forgot Kevin. They will tell you straight up that they are enjoying everything we got them. Right now, Tony and I went and we ranked all the films up to this point in the MCU, kind of ending things off with Black Widow. We went back, gave you our top 10-ish, and then some honorable, obviously, just went through the entire MCU up to this point. So folks that listen to our show are pretty much MCU stands as well. We don't, go join in. Go listen to that right now. It's in your feed.
And we're very MCU heavy this week also, as our poll was MCU related too, and we'll get to that a little bit later. So yeah, we were just jazzed to talk Marvel this week, and just we hadn't had a theatrical release in almost 2 years or whatever, so I was like, yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, baby. So. Guys, ratings and reviews, we definitely want them big time. Follow us across the board on all of our socials, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Don't forget to join that Facebook group page that's Take Two Universe. That has a lot of conversation pretty much daily. Lots of kind of off the beaten path fun stuff that we just kind of throw out there random, doesn't have to be timely and whatnot. That's more conversational. And it's been hot lately, and we enjoy that. And we enjoy I've been enjoying seeing our fans go at each other to a degree.
Yes, I love that.
It's just kind of like, all right.
That last one that came up with, like, what do you get rid of? Which franchise do you get rid of kind of thing?
Yes.
How are people not saying Lord of the Rings? 9 hours walking on some hills to return jewelry? Get out of here with that movie.
We put up an option of 9 different ones. One of those, you've seen those memes, guys, where which one of these stays, which goes. The part that made me laugh, number 1, was the meme is one has to go. The first 3 people to respond said which one they're keeping. I was like, wait, guys. It's an all cap. Whatever. Either way. Now, see, my answer would be Harry Potter simply because I haven't seen them. I've only seen like 1 and a half.
Fair enough.
But I'm with you. Of the other ones ranking, yeah, Rings is in last, and that even includes Legolas sliding on a shield, lighting dudes up, which was a badass scene. But I would definitely put that one last.
We have a friend who has cats named after the characters in the movies and is a big fan and reads books and all that stuff. So
She doesn't listen. Who cares?
And so too bad. Too bad. Because she can't Star Wars. Get rid of Star Wars. I know she was doing that on purpose.
So speaking of the DC Marvel stuff, guys, usually we have that segment. There wasn't any news this week for DC or Marvel, so we're kind of skipping it, if you will. When next week, we'll probably make up for it and be hot and heavy with DC Marvel. So if you're getting to that point of the show and you're like, wait a second, they didn't talk any DC Marvel. There really wasn't much in there. What little stuff that we did have, we're just going to filter into the news or reviews earlier on in the show. Buddy, if you're ready, I think we should get started.
I am ready. Let's get to those box office results. A little bit of surprise this weekend, at least for me. The number one film for the weekend was Space Jam: New Legacy. 31.
LeBron haters, suck it. Number one box office. Take that.
Put your bottle of tequila under your chairs and shut up.
He was tweeting quick, baby. He was tweeting fast with that one.
Did you see him at the game with his tequila under his chair? Give me a break.
Yep.
31.7 million at the box office. 31 is a common number for this film because that's also the Rotten Tomatoes score. 31. But yeah, 31.7 at the box office, even though it's available at HBO at home, folks. Why are you taking your family and spending all that money? You could have watched it at home on HBO just like we did. Well, I watched it. We'll get to that later. This was surprising because it was predicted only to do 20.
Yeah.
So the above predictions. Also, you're going up against Marvel. You're going up against Black Widow, who just had won first place last week. Usually those movies hang on to first place for a couple weeks, whatever. So that was the big surprise there. Also, the original film only made 27.5 in its opening weekend, so this actually beat it. And its domestic run was 90. So I bet you this beats that as well.
Sure.
So, obviously we're talking 25 years ago almost, but
yeah.
Money has changed. I don't know about, adjusting for inflation and all that, but still. So very impressive debut for Space Jam. I will say that. And then in second place, Black Widow, 26.3, pretty big drop. It was like 67% drop, something like that from its opening weekend.
Largest Marvel drop ever from Friday to Friday. Yeah. And I think it was over 70, not to tit for tat. But yeah, the headline I saw was largest MCU drop ever.
Okay. Well, I did see there was a lot of theaters that came out and they're pissed and saying that's why, because it's available on Disney Plus, we're not getting a number one weekend again and we're not getting that big money again. So I guess that opens that debate even more. It's at 132 domestically, has made another 100 overseas, so roughly 233 worldwide. Not bad, but this is not going to be a $1 billion Marvel movie like most Marvel movies. You can sneeze and make $1 billion. So even worldwide may have a hard time getting 500. So
no, you're spot on. I think 500 would be the high bar for them to hit. Especially with it already on Disney Plus. Why would anybody now at this point go? So we glowed about it. I've heard other people glowing, loving this movie, absolutely saying you also should go see it in theaters. But with more movies coming out now, with more stuff, now we're going to start hitting some blockbuster films. Sorry, 500 would be wow. Congrats.
And looking at the top 5 here, 3 of them are available on their streaming services. So that is impressive that they were able to make money, but they're also available at home to watch. So that's definitely a trend right now. Number 3, one of the only ones that's exclusive to theaters right now, is Escape Room Tournament of Champions. This made 8.8 million. It made another 4.5 overseas, so 13.3 worldwide. Probably, I think the budget was maybe 20, so it's going to make its money back easily. The first one, the budget was only like 8, so these movies are very cheap and they make their money back. That's why you see them getting sequels and whatnot. The 4th place goes to Fast 9, F9, whatever, 7.6. It's now at 155 domestic, 436 overseas.
That's
so
insane.
It's 591 worldwide. Now, I want to say that one might be coming available at home this week because I think Universal had that deal where it was only like a 30-day window for them before it went to the home viewing. So I may be able to check that out.
Finally have a review for you guys.
Review of F9 if it's going to be at home because I'm not going to the theater to see it. Sorry. And then lastly, 5th place, Boss Baby Part 2, 4.7 million. It's at 44.6 domestic. Like we said the last couple weeks, still not finding an audience overseas. 3.7 million overseas. So 48.3 worldwide. The other two releases of the week that were, I guess, of note would be Roadrunner, which is the Anthony Bourdain documentary. That actually came in 8th place with 1.9 million. So that's a pretty good showing for a documentary that was not showing on that many theaters. So a lot of Bourdain fans out there. And then also Pig, the Nicolas Cage movie, got its. It was in 10th place with just under a million and made about 950,000. So decent shooting for him, and I've heard really good things. I'm also maybe hoping to catch up with that one this week. So if I can, I'll get a review for next week's show.
Beautiful. Very nice. There you go, folks. There's your box office results. Let's keep things rolling into what might have been our closest poll ever.
Insane, right? Insane. I think it is, actually, because even if you look at the write-in input, it's still basically a tie. So we had a tie this week. I just threw it out there. Loki wrapped up. I wanted to say what's the best MCU show on Disney Plus so far. We've only had 3, WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Loki. 40% each for WandaVision and Loki, straight up. Which is kind of dumb the way Twitter does it, because it said 40% for each of those, and then it said 21 for Falcon and Winter Soldier. I was like, how do we have 101% of votes? That doesn't make sense.
Whoops.
That's strange. Anyways, but WandaVision and Loki, a dead tie there. And then on Instagram, we got some responses from Bo, who said Loki. Sam said Loki. Then Craig said Wanda. Chris said Wanda just because of how unexpected it was. Loki gave him the feels, though, and Falcon and Winter Soldier was just a gap filler. So I'm taking that as Wanda. He gave Wanda the first vote. So 2 for 2 there on those 4 comments. And then Shy, he just said, and that was it. Never got back to me. I tried to get a quick response like, hey, are you still thinking about it? Did you come up with an answer? Never did. So I guess he was the deciding vote, and he never responded. So there you go. It's a dead tie. And Loki. I personally went with WandaVision. I think I really enjoyed the Loki finale and the season overall. We'll talk about it when we do our review. But I just gave WandaVision the edge for like the originality and just swinging for the fences, and what they did with that show was pretty impressive in my opinion.
It's easily WandaVision for me. It was a very easy vote for me, and that's not a knock on to Fafts or Loki. No. And I'll expand more as to why Loki comes in second place for me. But yeah, just like you just said, the originality, what they did, they introduced us to some great new characters. I mean, Catherine Hahn can do no wrong in my book. It was fantastic. They made me care about 2 characters that I did not give a damn about before. And then during the series, I was like, holy crap, I really care about both of these characters, et cetera, et cetera. So it was a very easy vote for me. Thanks, everybody, for voting on that one. I love that it was so close. That's awesome.
It was. And again, I hate to do it, but our Facebook community was the ones that let me down again. Anytime we drop a poll, I feel like for some reason Facebook, I don't know if people just aren't seeing it or whatever, or they're just seeing the picture and kind of scrolling by, but please respond to the polls on Facebook, guys. We would love to have your responses talked about, not just Twitter and Instagram. So every week, that's going to be there for you on Thursday nights-ish. So please respond.
Here we go, folks. We have 11 reviews, and we're going to start things off with Nebula Karen Gillan's film that just dropped over the weekend. We talked about this casting. We talked about this trailer, and now we got the film. So here is Gunpowder Milkshake.
This was very exciting to me because we got it on a Wednesday, which was nice. We got our chance to watch it a little early, and kind of for a show that drops on Tuesdays, it was nice to have almost a full week to like sit and think about it.
Yeah, stop dropping shit on Wednesdays. That's how we have 11 reviews, guys. Put them back to Fridays.
I like that, but it's also at the same point, it's like, man, I feel like we already reviewed this because this came out like a week ago. You know,
right.
I almost forget that we watched it. But yeah, this is the new Netflix offering, which is weird. Only available in the U.S. I think U.S. and Canada on Netflix. Everywhere else, it was actually theatrically released overseas and stuff. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, interesting. But yeah, like you said, Karen Gillan, Lena Headey, Carla Gugino, Michelle Yeoh, Angela Bassett, Paul Giamatti. Amazing cast.
Loaded.
A lot of fun. It's stylish. It's bright. You know, it's trying to be John Wick, but also a little more fun and playful. So it was almost leaning towards like Tarantino territory for me a little bit. You know, some iconic locations, the bowling alley, the diner, her costuming. You know, things like that. Everything about it was very well done as far as that goes. Overall, it was fun. It was a good way to watch a movie. It wasn't like the best thing I've ever seen. I can't see people clamoring like, yes, I want more Gunpowder Milkshake. It was fine. It was a good way to spend, 90 to 120 minutes. Of choreographing of the fights was really good for me. I felt also, and the gun scenes and things like that. I felt like they did a good job making it look realistic, being well done, and like I said, production design, all that stuff paid off for me. And the little girl, I think the little girl was a good addition to the cast. What's her name? Chloe Coleman. She was in My Spy as well.
Right.
I think she was the factor that elevated this movie above just like a dumb, wasted like action movie. Her addition to that just gave it that little bit of heart and gave it like a little push for Karen Gillan's character, gave her some motivation, I guess, if you will. And I think that saved the really overall for me. It could have been kind of a movie, but I think it was a little bit better because of that extra storyline with her. What about you?
I agree. It was fine. 1.25 watch speed for the win here for me. I did think if I had watched that on regular speed, I'd be lower, but I thought everything about it, the coloring, cinematography seems like a strong word to use in this action film, but that aspect of it,
Yeah.
yeah, I enjoyed it. Like you said, it likens to Kingsman and likens, to John Wick, but with the female cast, luckily the girl's in there to add some heart where like Kingsman doesn't, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed some of the unique things, like B-movie unique things, like taping a gun and taping the knife to the hands. Like, let's try this crazy little thing. It's way over the top. It's way far-fetched, but let's just do it and have a lot of fun with it. Then we'll have the kid drive the car. Bing. I liked it. It was fun. It was cheesy. And it was just like, let me just sit back and just enjoy this. I love Karen Gillan. I'm a humongous fan of hers, not only for Easy on the Eyeballs, but also I think she's a very, very solid actress. So I like watching. And then she compliments Lena Headey big time. Anytime Paul Giamatti's in something, I'm intrigued. There wasn't a lot here to do with. It was just kind of like a fun summary movie. I wonder if seeing it in the theaters would have changed things, if I would have been liking it more, or like, why did I drive to the movies for that?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, like I said, I picked up on some of the, like you said, cinematography. I thought there were a few nice shots. The one, I think it was maybe the final battle in the diner was really cool.
Okay.
The way they did the tracking kind of left to right.
Yes.
And they slowed it down. You could really pick up on, that's what I was saying, the choreography. I felt like you can't hide that stuff. When you're doing that slow-mo tracking, you're going to see every little flaw. And I thought they did a good job there.
Yeah.
Score, fun soundtrack, kind of, but not overdone. A little more like obscure. That's what I was saying with like the Tarantino kind of feel. Like Edgar Wright. I was kind of getting like Edgar Wright Hot Fuzz kind of feels. There were some quick cuts and things like that. And I was like, the action just reminded me of like Edgar Wright in a little ways. I don't know. It just it was able to rise above a stupid standard action movie for me. So I think I liked it a little more than you.
Yeah.
And the heart and then the comedy also I think made it like John Wick to me. Those movies are good, but they're also like dead serious to me. I feel like this just gave you a little more fun watching it. And that's what I was missing with this. Reminded me of like Nobody that I watched earlier this year with Odenkirk, and I really liked that. And it had some comedy to it. So, and just cute little moments that they had, like Angela Bassett trying not to swear around the kid, like little cute things like that. And they were really trying to world build. So I think they do want to do more with this. I just don't know if it's worth it to continue as like a franchise,
You're definitely higher than I am, but if next week we reported in the news that they're booking a second one, I'm interested to watch it.
Sure. Or even like a series, like what they're doing with John Wick and kind of spinning it off into his little series or things like that.
Okay.
It could be kind of fun.
Hit us up on the socials, folks. Let us know your thoughts on Gunpowder Milkshake. We both recommend at least checking it out. It is worth your time. All right, part 3 is out. Fear Street, 1666.
Now, are you caught up completely?
Fully caught up, pal. All 3.
Okay, good. So we can kind of
talk. All the lights on right now.
We can talk about it as a trilogy as well. For me, I felt like at first watch on this one, I did think like, oh man, this is a little bit like just each movie, like we're going down the staircase and getting worse. However, I think after thinking about it a little bit, I will put this one a little bit above the last one. I think I like this one a little bit more than 78. So I would say this is maybe the second best of the trilogy or whatever. They just jump you right in where we left off in 78. We're in 1666 now. We're with the same actors from the 94 and 78 movies. They're kind of interspersed in here. I thought that was kind of cool the way they did it and didn't really feel the need to be like, we need exposition scenes to be like, what's going on? Why am I this girl? We didn't get those scenes. And I appreciate that. Thank you for not doing that. And that made me feel dumb. Also, this one, I didn't know it was going to be a part 1, part 2, which was weird. Because you watch about an hour of the movie, and it's like this whole like Crucible feel to it, like Salem witch trials, whatever. And I was into it. It was all right. And then you get to part 2, and I was like, what? we got 45 minutes left in this thing, you know. So I will say the first part of it was definitely heavier for me, where I was into it a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
And then the second part, we get back to 94, it got a little silly, and then they did the same thing again with like, here's some more music. Remember this song? We got Mo Murder by Bone. We got Offspring in here. You know, like, let's throw whatever songs we can think of.
Sure.
When they did go back to 94, I think that was the weakest part of the movie for me. Like the whole Super Soaker, whatever, plot line.
Yeah.
I don't know. Even in the previous movie when they're like, oh, we dug up the hand in the middle of the mall at this tree. Like, really? They're building a mall around this tree? And they
Around the
didn't
hanging tree? Yeah.
like a lot of contrivances as far as plot points go in these movies. So also it kind of pissed me off, and spoiler alert, folks, that I didn't pick up on it sooner, that the sheriff named Good was going to be the bad guy. I was like, oh, God, like, how did
Good
I
is
not?
evil.
Oh, I'm so pissed about that. But
Right.
I don't know. It was okay. It was okay. Like I said, I think I'm higher on 94 than any of the trilogy. This was second best. They did a good job, I guess, wrapping it up the best that they could. But the ending of it was just a little like, okay, we're going long now. We're getting a little silly. Let's finish this
Sure.
up. So.
Yeah, I agree all around. I don't know. The beginning, I was expecting like Gary Oldman. What was he in? Scarlet Letter? That one was a Scarlet Letter? Whatever. Yeah, the long.
Daniel Day-Lewis was in The Crucible.
Right. I was.
Hang him, and he's like, my name, you can't take my name. That whole bit.
Yeah. I mean, it likened to that, and then I think when it kicked to 94, I was like, it gave validity to going back to 1666. Like, it's like, all right, now we have our backstory as to why, which they easily could have done in 94 of them, like, reading a book. Like, oh, there's this curse.
Story, yes.
But instead, they gave you actual depth and showed you it happening to the characters. Great scene with the two girls confessing. That's all I'll say. I thought that was a fantastic scene when the emotionality there was a lot of fun. But you're right. Once we got back to now 94, they're spraying themselves so they can't smell each other, and then the neon glow super soaker stuff. It was like, all right, let's wrap it. Let's kill somebody.
I mean, we lived in 94. Was neon that big of a deal? I don't remember that. Like, that to me is more like 80s.
I was gonna say, yeah. Like that hot pink and hot, all was late 80s, whatever.
I also will give points for the creepy ass scene with the kids getting killed in the church.
Oh,
yeah.
Like,
walls and stuff. I was like, ooh, okay. That was probably the best like horror scene of this movie. I feel like each one had one pretty good scene of like, ooh, they went for that. Like the bread slicer, like I said in the first one or whatever.
Sure.
I like that. I will give it points for ambition as a trilogy. I think they went for it. It was a cool idea, cool concept, based on R.L. Stine, but we took it to our level, which was cool. Ashley Zuckerman, I've never really shouted him out in these movies, but he's kind of like your through line, playing the sheriff. I thought he did a good job throughout the movies. Sure. We also got to introduce, what is his name? I'm sorry. Daryl Britt Gibson as Martin. He really didn't get anything to do until this one.
Right.
So that was cool to bring him on. I thought he was fun. He's been in Judas and the Black Messiah, 3 Billboards, The Wire, Barry, Just Mercy. He's been in a lot of stuff. So it was good to see him to get a little work there in the final movie.
Hey, do you want to go kill the sheriff? All right.
Okay.
Kill a cop? Sounds great. Saddle up.
I also like that they kind of threw in a couple more killers in this one that we hadn't seen in previous movies. And that just makes me like even more wanting to know about the lore of this world. Like, man, I want those backstories. I want the backstory of that little kid with the bat. I want the guy with like the plague mat. Like, figure out these stories. I want to see more of those stories. So will they maybe make this a continued series? Because if you watch the end of the movie, they kind of lead it to believe that you could keep going with it.
Stay through the credits.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I want to shout out Fred Heckinger, who plays Isaac. He's in the 94 movie and then comes back again in this one. This kid has had the best career as a 21-year-old so far. Have you been following? Like, he's in everything we've reviewed for the last 6 months. First off, he was in 8th grade. That was where I first noticed him. Okay. He Let Them All Talk, which is a Soderbergh movie. He's been in News of the World, Woman in the Window, whatever, Underground Railroad. He's in White Lotus that we're going to talk about later. He's going to be in the upcoming Pam and Tommy also, and now this Fear Street. And he's only 21, like killing it. Good job, Fred.
Good for you. Spotlight soon coming.
There you go.
Fred Heckinger.
Let me see what else there is here. I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah, it wraps fine. It's worth the watch. I like that they connected 3 films, and it's open to go more. It had some good scares. The one guy getting hit in the belly with a rake in the church, I was like, oh, got him.
Sure. Yeah, and especially for you not being a horror fan, to jump on and be able to watch it and enjoy it. I do appreciate you doing it. And I've heard some other shows that are a little harsher on these movies and really like, oh, well, it should have done this, or it should have had, the slashers should have kills every 15 minutes, or things like that. Going really hard with it. And it's like, I don't know. I just went into it and tried to have fun with it for what it was worth. It's fine, and they did an admirable job linking it all together as a trilogy. So kind of a cool event. I'd like to see Netflix do more things like this and be ambitious. So hopefully it was popular enough.
All right, something that is extremely popular right now is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's so popular they got to do TV shows about it. And what they're doing right now is making you watch those TV shows so that you understand what the movies are going to be all about. Here you go, folks. This is going to be free flow and free talk, and so if you have not caught up on Loki yet, do not listen, or listen and be spoiled. But we're going to just be talking spoilery the entire way out. This is your review of the entire series that was Loki.
My fat ass thought you said donut. I was like, what? Donuts?
Donut.
Donut. Listen, I was like, where's the donuts? Anyways, yeah, Loki, we did our first take on it after the first episode, and then it's only 6 episodes. We've kind of mentioned it here or there in passing about a couple things that went on in the series.
Yeah.
Overall, really good show. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed getting Tom Hiddleston back, expanding on his character, kind of getting a new version of Loki that we've never had before. Because by the end of the series, you're kind of like trusting of Loki, which we've never really done before. Really, should we? I don't know.
Yeah.
And we get the tease of a season 2 coming, so maybe we'll see in the next season. Maybe he isn't trustworthy, or maybe who knows. But kind of a change to the Loki character. Cool to see the different variants come on. The Lady Loki. I was impressed with what they did with this show to be able to keep that quiet. That we had somebody cast to play a Lady Loki. We had another big villain being introduced in this series, and all that stuff was pretty quiet. Wasn't leaked. That's impressive. So good on them that they do that and keep that going. And so I will give a big thumbs up to Sophia DiMartino as Lady Loki, or Sylvie. I thought she was great. I think she's the highlight of the show for me. I'd love to keep going and get her in other projects.
Can I tell you, like, through the first 4 eps, I'm like, why do I know this girl? Why do I know her? And then I was like, oh, she was in Yesterday. She was the friend that was like, it's not Coldplay. It's not the one that, like, shits on him when he's writing this. I was like, that's who the girl is. That's, yeah, she was absolutely fantastic. She was great, and I'm looking forward to her in more, hopefully.
And it was cool that on her Instagram, I think as well, she had posted a thing how she was like a new mom when this was happening. And they like made her suit able to like open up for her to breastfeed and stuff on set. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. Good job.
That's
Marvel.
Good on Marvel for doing that for her. That's great.
Of course we had the bisexual reveal. A lot of people got talking about that. Whatever. That's fine, I guess. Owen Wilson was great. Sadly, we didn't get a wow out of him, but he was fun. Him and Hiddleston had really good chemistry. I love them. The one episode that he was pretty much missing from, I was missing him. I was like, man, I really want Owen Wilson back. Tara Strong coming in strong in that last episode as Miss Minutes, making her character known, and almost like you were kind of scared of her, almost like, whoa, she's kind of devious,
Sure. Yeah.
We got more Gugu and Batha Raw in the last episode or 2. That was kind of fun the way they did that, and we're able to show those variants as they were in their past life or whatever. That was good. And I still did not love Wunmi Wasaki, whatever her name is, from Lovecraft Country. I just wonder if she was completely miscast. That's all I said after the first episode, and I still feel that way. I just don't think her character was great, and they never went full in with her.
Sure. I can see that. I can see it.
The colors, the cinematography, it was really like cinematic, I felt like. More so maybe than Falcon and Winter Soldier even, because this is kind of standard. This is standard Marvel in some way. Like, this could have just been a Loki movie, really. But I thought they did a good job with that, the cinematography, the colors. The Easter eggs were crazy in episode 5. We kind of talked about that a little bit in the past episode.
Yeah.
Getting
Thor Frog.
Thor Frog, all that stuff. So
Thanos helicopter. Yeah.
Just getting Richard E. Grant as the original Loki. That was really cool. The kid Loki, the actor Loki, all that stuff. It's all fun. I'm excited to see more of it. And the reveal at the end of the final episode, where it's going to take us now in the MCU.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you've just mentioned every actor except for the one that just is I'm madly in love with right now. We saw Jonathan Majors in Five Bloods. We really jumped on board with Lovecraft Country, and now at this point it's like, oh, I am pot committed to this guy, whatever he wants to do. And now we also know that he's going to be doing multiple things. I'm not sure if you saw, he voiced the 3
The timekeepers, yeah.
Yeah. He even voiced them over. So, at this point going forward, we're going to get different versions. He's just going to drop some serious acting talent upon us. For me, the series was fine. It was fine. I was interested the whole way. I wanted to know what was happening. The big, alligator Loki, people were going nuts. I was like, all right, that's cool. I don't know. Maybe it just didn't hit as hard. I don't know. It felt like a in-depth, super extended extra scene, end credit scene that now explains, here's what's going to happen. So, which is where it's like, all right, folks, if you didn't watch Loki, when Spider-Man comes out in December, you're going to be a little confused as to why all this kind of stuff is happening.
Yeah.
So it was good. It did give you depth and make you like Loki. But it was weird. I felt like every time you started to like him, he then literally said out loud, I'm a liar. I can't be trusted. Don't forget, to remind you, remember, he's supposed to be a villain, even though we're all starting to really like this character. So
that's the one thing that I'm still battling myself with over this show is, should we at the end feel that way about Loki and be like, okay, he's changed. I like him now, and we can trust him, or should I still be wondering? I'm having a hard time grappling through that, and him and Sylvie kind of getting love, and I was like, well, I guess that makes sense because he's kind of an egotistical guy. He, of course, loves himself, whatever. An interesting choice. I, for one, I'll go with your Jonathan Majors. I liked him even further back in Last Black Man in San Francisco when I reviewed that. He was great. So that was where he was introduced to me. But I, for some reason, didn't love him in this.
Oh, wow.
He was okay. He was okay to me. I was like, what is he doing here? Is he trying to be Joker? Like, what is going on with this performance? It was a little strange performance, but like I said, going forward, we're going to see different versions of He Who Remains, Kang, whatever.
Right.
Maybe he'll get a little more devious. Maybe he'll play it in different ways as we meet different versions. So that's kind of fun.
Sure.
I did see that the director said he ad-libbed a lot of that stuff and kind of him jumping up on the table, things like that, like was not scripted. Like he really just kind of read into it and went with it with those guys and in that scene. So that just is a testament to his acting and how good he is. So I do look forward to him. I just didn't necessarily love it as much as maybe others did in the scenes he got. But yeah, cool. I'm wondering if this leads us to, is Loki going to now be in maybe like Multiverse of Madness or whatever?
Yeah.
I know they've already said Kang will be in Ant-Man, but between now and Ant-Man, there's quite a few other films to come out. So will he be built up as our next big bad like Thanos, and will he get some interjections in these other movies, maybe Spider-Man, maybe Doctor Strange? That's the weird thing about WandaVision and Loki now, kind of knocking on the door of multiverse. But then we're like, hey, our next two movies are Shang-Chi and Eternals. And it's like, now you're making me wait to get to what I want to see. I want to see more of that multiverse. And we're not going to get that until Spider-Man in December. Not that long away, but, the flow is going where it's like, ooh, we're leading to the multiverse, and now we're going to break it up with two new introductions of characters. And it's like, damn. So now I'm like less looking forward to Shang-Chi and Eternals even.
Valid. Unless all of a sudden their end credit scene is Sylvie like killing Shang-Chi, and you're like, what the?
And they very much could do something like that, or just introducing Kang like they did with Thanos, like, I'll do it myself, whatever, those little scenes that we got. So it could be cool, could be a way to build this going forward. Definitely, I hope they keep Sylvie going, though. I love her character, and I would love to see her in the big screen somewhere. And maybe they will just carry on her as Loki, maybe going forward, like Flo Poo is doing. Black Widow had to get the Flo Poo in there again. So
love it. Thanks for another Flo Poo.
So she's like, you didn't say that on the show, did you, Flo Poo? And I was like, yeah, definitely.
We named the show Flo Poo. What?
She has a list.
The one news that we did, and you already kind of said it, the news, it was funny because you see the end credit and it says, we'll return for season 2, very James Bond-esque, loved it. And then the next day, they dropped the headline news, renewed for a second season. I was like, well, yeah, you told me that when I watched the episode. Thanks for the heads, But either way, you have to get headlines back-to-back days. So that is the one big news. We do know that it's coming back.
So I watched it with my son, and when the episode finished with the tease at the end where you see the Kang statue,
monument,
or Mobius, whoever, he's like, who are you, whatever. My son was like, I hate the show. Like, that's how it ended, blah, blah, blah. And then the credits came on, and he's like, yes, let's go, season 2. Like, I hate it too. I'm so expecting a season 2, so that was great.
Yeah, I'm with your son a little bit there. I liked it. It was fine. It was good. It really just felt like, same with Falcon Winter Soldier. It felt like, all right, that was fun to watch, but really all you're doing is just kind of setting me up. So.
And then this one, I like this one better than Falcon and Winter Soldier, but they are both very traditional, what we expect from Marvel. Yeah. And then this is what they're going to continue doing with these shows. I love it. I'm here for it. So,
all right, folks, that's going to wrap up our MCU talk for now. We are now going to move on to, the big drop of the weekend, Space Jam.
I love that the big drop of the weekend is buried in fourth place on our reviews. I will say that I partially watched this movie, so I'm going to let the review be mostly you here. I watched the beginning setup with LeBron and his kids, and they're practicing basketball and things like that, and then I left the room for a while, and then I came back and saw like another middle part of the movie leading up to the game, and then I had to leave again. So I only saw like half the movie, so I want to hear your take.
All right, so I promise you folks, I did my best to not be anti-LeBron on this, like to not.
Hard though, it's real.
But then, so it opens up with the opening credits of leaving Cleveland, Miami, not 5, not 6. I'm like, these are all the things I hate about the guy.
His whole life story. Do we need this movie to be 2 hours long? No, cut that shit out.
So then, opening scene is him yelling at his son, "You've got to work harder. The only way you can get ahead in life is if you work hard. You've got to focus." I'm like, the kid's 10. Calm it down, LeBron. I was like, wow, they're not painting him in a great light. Like, he's hard on this kid. And I was like, wow, I don't blame the kid for not wanting to do it. I wouldn't want to play either. Like, I'm missing why he's yelling at his son right here. And at that point, I was like, is this a kid's movie or is this like a motivational coach movie? I was off put immediately. Just from like LeBron comes out, first words out of his mouth are he's berating his child for playing basketball.
That was why I left the room. After that, I was like, ooh, I don't like where this is going. I'm going to go get ready for work, do some things in the other room. So,
folks, I'm sure you've all heard that WB puts in every IP that you can ever think of when they go in. Eventually, he gets sucked into the world, and then he goes. The cool part I did enjoy, like he's going through WB verse, and it's like, oh, there's DC World, oh, there's Harry Potter World, and past all these. I was like, all right, that's neat.
I saw some of that, and I thought that was fun, but then I was also like, who is this for? Because kids don't know Casablanca. Kids don't know Matrix. Like, why are we visiting these movies that kids won't even pick up on the references? Is that just for adults' benefit? Or what? So I was like, why are we in Casablanca land?
Right. And so it was a very weird thing for them to like shoehorn all them in. Of course, then they go to Metropolis, and then LeBron's Robin, and like they make fun there. I thought that was funny. You have Justice League all show up. I was like, okay, you're in my wheelhouse, so I'm liking this. But then we got away from that. The basketball. They don't play basketball. The kids inventing this video game, and they got to play this different. Yeah. So it's all NBA Jam-ish, which I was like, all right, I played NBA Jam back when Space Jam Part 1 came out, so maybe this would have factored in better there. They tease you with, Michael Jordan's here. Not sure if you saw that, but
I did see it, but my son told me, and I was like, "Oh, that makes sense." Okay,
it was a great cameo. I was like, "Oh, wow, you got me. That was good. I actually appreciate what you did there. That was fine." But yeah, throughout, it was still him getting on the kid, and then the kid now is anti the dad, and he joins with Don Cheadle. Now, Don Cheadle, phenomenal. He does a great job acting. He's a phenomenal actor. We've already said that 1,000 times. Algae, yeah. And then he plays different style things, whatever. The chainsaws outside my window are saying, wrap it up, Brian, because you can't shit on this movie too much.
Your street, now you're like, oh!
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I couldn't, I kept trying. I promise you, I kept trying, folks, and I just couldn't get on. I couldn't get on. It wasn't fun. Bugs wasn't fun. The character arc with Bugs at the end. Also, everybody left Toontown and bailed on Bugs. Why? Why did they bounce? I didn't. Why are you making them bounce? And then you didn't come back around to say that they love Bugs. And then there was a whole lot of depth. And all the people are like, it's a kid's movie. No, it wasn't. Don't tell me that I should have just sat back and enjoyed just a kid's movie, because I disagree. They put so much into there, like The Mask is in the background and Game of Thrones. The Game of Thrones dragons with a naked Khaleesi flying around was like 6 times. I was like, don't tell me this is a just for kids film. I disagree on that one. I don't know. I just didn't like it.
Stuff in the background that I saw that part, I was really let down by it, because to me it just looked like you were at a con. It was like piss poor cosplay version.
Doritos Penguin? I was like, what?
Yeah. But it looked like bad versions of everything. Like, obviously they didn't go to the extent of getting the real actors, or maybe even just taking it out of your movie and like photo doing it on. It was like, hey, let's get a dude to dress up like the guy, the clown from It or whatever, like things like that. And it's like, that's
Pennywise.
You're just doing cosplay. That's stuff.
It literally was people that looked like they were cosplaying. It looked horrible. It looked absolutely bad. But then did they spend their money on putting the Looney Tunes characters into Wayne's World, into Austin Powers? Because they literally go into that, and they do a couple of other films.
Same scene from the movie, right? Yeah.
Right, but they just replaced them. I don't know what they were thinking. I honestly don't know what they're thinking. And it's funny, they got LeBron to do this, and part of the beginning of the film is they pitch him on this phenomenal idea of him being the face of WB and using all the WB IP. Like, they say what they're going to do in this movie early on, and LeBron's like, nah, I'm good. That's not me. I don't want to do that. But then this movie is what he rejects in the movie. That was the part that made me laugh. I promise you, folks, I tried to like it because I love Space Jam. It has a childhood, nostalgia for me, and I wanted it to be good. I do think LeBron is a solid actor. We've seen him act well in with what's his name?
Trainwreck.
Trainwreck. Thank you. I thought he has good acting chops in here. All the acting bits they gave him was yelling at his son.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, it's weird. The one thing I will say, because my son was like, "Oh, you should like come back and finish watching it. Watch from the game that part on." That was the part I missed. Was like the end of it, and I said, "Well, just tell me, was Bill Murray in it?" And he's like, "I don't know. I guess you're gonna have to watch and find out." And I was like, "You tell me. I want if I'm gonna watch it or not." So he didn't tell me.
Crapes. I was mad, and even the Monstars from Moron Mountain.
They show up
Briefly, blink and you miss them.
So is Bill Murray not in the movie? Come on.
Nothing from Space Jam. Nothing from the original.
Well, what? How do you not bring Bill Murray back? He was like the best part of the first one.
Give me Wayne Knight. Should have given me Wayne Knight.
Sure, I don't know, man. It's sad because I love Looney Tunes as a kid, and I feel like they're doing this now to try and just keep, hey, remember this cartoon? And like get kids interested, but I'm like, I don't care about, like, maybe almost like the Muppets. The Muppets are dying out. They keep trying to make it a thing and make it happen, but it's only our generation that cares anymore.
Yeah.
So I guess my daughter liked it. She watched it. She seemed like she was having fun with it. So it did hit with a younger crowd, but whatever. I'm probably never going to go back and try and finish it. And also, I learned that the big red monster from Looney Tunes is named Gossamer. I never knew that.
Oh, good to know.
Didn't know he had a name.
I didn't understand why they didn't put him down on the blocks and feed the posts. They had him run on the point for some weird reason. I was like, all right, that's fine.
Like Anthony Davis's photorealistic eyebrows, so that was good.
They make fun of that. I did like that Cheadle made fun of LeBron a few times. Like, he left and he was like, oh, you leaving? Because that's what you always do. Things like that.
Good, yes. Get that motherfucker. Sorry.
I did like that they didn't just kiss his butt the whole time. They at least busted his stones a wee bit. And they added Diana Taurasi. They added, female basketball players.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sure. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't like it at all. It's like a 2 out of 5 for me. Let's move on.
Yeah. All right. So this weekend, I had a chance to catch up with 2 music documentaries, which I love the music documentary. It's probably my favorite genre of like documentary because especially if it's a band or about somebody that I really enjoy, I don't need to care about anything else going on. I'm going to enjoy it. You know what I mean? If I'm just hearing the music and seeing the people I already like and have admiration for, I'm going to love it. So the first one I watched, though, is called Sparks Brothers, which is about a band named Sparks. Have you ever heard of the band Sparks? Or can you tell me anything they sing? Or
It's not Jordan Sparks.
No. Do you know anything about
Felipe Sparks? I know nothing about these guys. No.
Exactly, as do most people. So on the poster, I think it says your band's favorite band is like what the tagline is for the movie.
Gotcha.
So they are very like underrated, under the radar, indie kind of band, considered very influential. They've been around since the late 60s, released their first album in the early 70s. Wow. So they have had 25 albums over the last 50 years.
Wow.
And they've run the gamut of almost like different genres. As they go through these years, they've kind of moved with the trends and kind of changed it with the times, but they're also always like just ahead of the cusp of everybody else. So that's why they're considered like a really influential band. They went and did like synthesizer, that kind of sound, like before the 80s where it was huge and it was in everything or whatever. So they were always kind of just ahead of everybody else. This is actually directed by Edgar Wright, one of my favorite directors. So
wow.
Very cool to see him into the documentary field for the first time.
Sure.
Debuted at Sundance, 2 hours and 20 minutes, though. A little long in the especially for a band you don't really know anything about. But it was very cool. It looks at these guys. They truly are brothers, Ron and Russell. One is more the songwriter and does all the keyboard playing, things like that. The other guy is the front man and the lead singer or whatever. And like I said, they've just been going at it for 50 years now. And you get all sorts of interviews on here with people. Patton Oswalt, Jason Schwartzman, Beck, Flea from the Chili Peppers, Weird Al, Mike Myers, Bjork, Fred Armisen, among a million others that come on, and they just talk about their admiration for this band and how they were inspired by them and all these things. they're quirky. They're like a quirky band, and they're
Okay.
mostly kind of pop music. They have that kind of like glam rock or like British influence to them, but they're
Okay.
from America. They have really smart lyrics. They're really big overseas, actually. They still have a really big following overseas, but here they're more of like a cult band that most people don't know about. I will say this like almost made me a fan of them. I was like, I kind of want to seek them out now and go like listen to their
You're
Spotify.
selling me on them big time, and I haven't heard a note.
No, and I will say a lot of the songs that they get into, and once they explain the writing of it and the lyrics of it, I was like, man, these guys are cool. They're smart. I like them. They have actually almost made 2 movies now. They had a screenplay that they were working on making a movie with Tim Burton, and
Okay.
Tim Burton ended up backing out of it with them. But now they are the one actually did get made. They wrote the screenplay and the songs for Annette, the movie that we talked about, Annette, that was in the trailers a few weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they're the ones who wrote the screenplay and songs for that. So now
No
that's a
kidding.
film just debuted at Cannes. Back maybe 5 years ago, they did a really crazy thing that most bands would never do. They booked, at the time, they had 21 albums, and they said, we're going to do 21 shows in a row in England every night playing our albums straight through.
All 21 albums
All
each
21
night.
albums. Each night was a different album, and they did this 21 night show in London.
How
And
long
just
was that show?
Well, I mean, it was each night was like a 2 hour block or whatever, and they came back the next night and did album number 2 or whatever.
Oh, okay. That's what I was asking. Okay,
Yeah,
so album
24
one.
days in a row. But they were talking about they were doing interviews with the backing band, and they were like, we would go and we'd rehearse for like a week on the first album, then we moved to the second album, for another week. He's like, by the time you get to the fourth week, I forget what we did on the first
Right.
album. So how
Yeah,
hard is that to prepare for a 21 nights in a row
that's
doing
insane.
each album you've ever done? And sometimes they're a little different, almost genres and stuff too. So they are very interesting, and I just like the way it was set up to do the kind of album by album breakdown, show where it was in time, what was going on in culture around that time, how they influenced it, or things like that. So really cool. Like I said, I feel like looking them up now and listening to them. I highly recommend the documentary. Go check it out. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, they recently did an album with Franz Ferdinand where they did like a combo album with them. So that was kind of fun to see.
Alrighty.
Just all the different things that they've done and how unique they are. And they're very like just down to earth dudes. They live like in like maybe San Francisco area, and they're just regimented every day. It's like I'm getting up, I'm going to get my coffee at the shop down the corner. I'm going to the gym. Then we're going to work together. We're going to write songs together, and they're brothers, and they just do this nonstop. Like they're just constantly working at this and always trying to put albums out. So very cool, very admirable. I'm glad I found out about them, and I will be seeking out their music a little bit more going forward.
You've 100% sold me on these guys, and I have not heard a note of what I at least want to give a listen to like their best of.
Yeah.
Real quick, that sounds awesome. I could not spend every waking minute of my life with my brother. I like the kid, but no,
Yeah.
that's
It was just fun because like people were interviewed and they're like, yeah, we know where we can basically find them. You go to this coffee shop every day at this time, and they're going to be there just hanging out. Like, so people know them, but they're just very much under the radar for the general public. So
Dude,
kind of fun.
Sparks
Hopefully
Brothers,
we'll
come
get
on our show. Let's get the Brews and Beats happening again. Let's get them on
go.
here.
Book them a show here in DC somewhere. So. All right, so and then my second part of my musical journey this weekend was yesterday. I had like 3 hours to just chill by myself on the couch yesterday, which is unheard of. And I was like, and what is this? McCartney 321. What is this? I didn't know what it was. It's on Hulu. So I was like, click play. 6 episodes, half hours each. Boom. I just went through the whole thing in one sitting. Could not stop watching this. It is just Paul McCartney and Rick Rubin, the famous producer. They sit together and they break down his career. They go through
I've
different
heard of Paul McCartney. Him I've heard of.
Yes, he is well known, yes. And they just break down Beatles songs. They break down solo songs of his. They break down
Wings
songs
and
from
all that.
Wings. And Rick Rubin, being the producer, they're sitting at a board and they're isolating tracks. They're saying, who played this? Here's the vocals. Let's just listen to this, doing that, and isolating and breaking down these songs like one by one. Really fascinating stuff. You get some backstory from McCartney about, this is when we wrote this. This is what was this. This is who was playing this instrument. Blah blah blah. Really paints some of his other band members in some nice lights. Talking about specifically George and Ringo and John and their contributions. George Martin even too. I guess I never knew also like Eric Clapton played on While My Guitar Gently Weeps. I didn't know that he actually played on the recorded session with them.
Really?
So that was something I learned. Yeah, I didn't know that. He said George had him hanging out with them because he was friends of his, and he plays on the record. Like, that's him. He's like, no, that's
a fucking sentence. The Beatles just had Clapton hanging out with them.
It was crazy because, Paul McCartney's still recording. He just had an album come out. So he said recently he was recording at Abbey Road, and Clapton was there as well. And he said they saw each other in the studio, and he's like, we haven't been here together since we did Guitar Weeps, And it's like, holy shit, like that's such a cool moment.
That was a very solid McCartney, by the way. That was really solid. It was.
So yeah, like I said, being a fan of the Beatles, especially, I just couldn't stop watching it. And Rick Rubin just like looks like just such a fan sitting there like talking, but to have the knowledge of it to break it down and like I said, just isolate the tracks and do that stuff. It was very cool, very insightful, and just fun backstories. And it's like, man, what a treasure Paul McCartney is. Like, thank God this got filmed before this guy dies. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so glad we get these stories and stuff. So. Very cool. I highly recommend it. It's on Hulu now. Like I said, 6.5 hours. You'll watch it like that.
James Corden won an Emmy for when he drove around, with McCartney, just driving around talking about making his songs and where he got his haircut and stuff. This has got to be fantastic. All right, you sold me on both of those very, very easily. Nice. Awesome.
Awesome. Check them out.
All right, first take time, folks. As you know, we usually watch a couple of episodes here or there of some shows, and we just want to give you our initial impressions and tell you, hey, we're going to stick with this, we're going to keep watching it, or this sucks, we're done with it. And hopefully you guys can jump on board, and we've got a couple of them for you guys. We're going to lead things off with Catch and Kill.
Yeah, no, you didn't get a chance to catch up with this one.
No, sir,
right?
This is all you. I did not catch up with this one.
Yeah, so Catch and Kill, the podcast tapes is what it's called. It's on HBO Max. I was able to watch the first 2 eps so far. It is going to be 6 episodes, so I think they're doing just like a 3-week release, 2 episodes a week, I think is what they're doing.
Nice.
Every Monday night they're going to put new episodes out. This is based on Ronan Farrow's book, who is one of Woody Allen's like kids or whatever, who has gone on to become a journalist and does all this stuff and is famous for it. So he was one of the people who really broke the Harvey Weinstein case and got the interviews and the information to really get Harvey Weinstein finally convicted of all this. So the first 2 episodes focus on that, interviewing people that were involved. This girl, Ambra Gutierrez, is kind of one of the first people that they got like a wire. They got her to wear a wire and get Harvey on tape saying things and things, whatever. So This is based on his book. I think he did a podcast, and then this is like the filmed version of the podcast, basically. So it's just him sitting and interviewing people and whatnot. Okay. But if you're into the Harvey Weinstein case and like interested in how that all went down, it's very interesting. Just talking to the victims and kind of hearing new audio recordings I didn't know existed, and just talking to a couple other journalists who had been working on this case for 10, 20 years before him and saying, like, we knew about this and we were trying to catch the guy and never could. Like, you're basically the reason that it finally happened. I didn't know there were rumors of, like, Gwyneth Paltrow being sexually assaulted by that. I'd never heard that before. So that was new to me, and I don't think that's ever been confirmed, but that was talked about in here. Rosanna Arquette comes on and talks about her experience in the second episode. They talk about Rose McGowan and how she kind of helped get things going with her tweets and things like that. And then they get into the system he was doing. They were using personal checks to pay off these women and get them like sign NDAs to not talk about it to these journalists and whatnot. And then they couldn't really go to court on like a fraud type thing because it was just like a personal check. It wasn't like he was using it through his company. He actually had his brother writing personal checks to these women to like pay them off and be like, no, don't talk about our experiences together. So they really could never go to court on things because these women would take the money or whatever. So really, really interesting stuff. I'm going to see it out. But if you're interested in this at all, of course, it's going to be a little rough to listen to, talking about, rape allegations and consent and things like that. But it's interesting and it's cool. And I'm glad it's out there. And we're finally hearing the whole story behind that case.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm sorry. What's it on again?
HBO Max.
HBO Max. Sounds good.
Catch and kill, baby.
I did watch White Lotus after you recommended that you were watching it too, because I wanted to catch up with you. Jumped onto this guy. I enjoyed episode 1. I enjoyed the multitude of characters that were being given to lead off here. The actors, Steve Zahn, Connie Britton, the one girl, Sydney Sweeney. She was in the Zendaya show. A bunch of folks in here, pretty loaded. And, Alexandria Daddario.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah. But a little bit of intrigue because it opens up, we're kind of flashbacking here, and it opens up that somebody dies, and we're going to find out.
We're basically focusing on the lives of these guests and staff at a hotel for 1 week. And like you said, you open it up with that little bit of intrigue. Somebody dies. You see a body getting loaded on the plane. Spoiler alert, I guess. But that's what leads you into the hook of the show is
Sure.
somebody died on this trip. Now let's go back to the beginning of the week and find out what happened. So I think it's a really cool, intriguing concept. It's got some comedy to it. It's not just straight up, heavy drama, but obviously we're getting some mysterious elements, which is fun. Written and directed by Mike White, most famously did School of Rock. So I'm intrigued to see him do something a little different here than what he's most known for. We also get Fred Heckinger in here. I talked about him earlier, 21. It, sleeping in the closet, Yeah, I like it. I think everyone in here is very cool. They did a good job of just laying out these, 4 or 5 different timelines we're going to follow. Good characters. I will shout out, what is his name? Murray Bartlett as the hotel manager. I really like him. Kind of the lead of the show in my mind, just having to deal with all these different people. I think he's doing a really good job of it. I've never really seen him in anything. He's mostly known for being an Australian actor. I guess he was in Iron Fist. But, he's really good. I like, you got the hotel worker having the baby. There's just lots of crazy stuff going on in that first episode.
She was pregnant. I just thought she was chubby.
Exactly. You get to see Steve Zahn's dick and balls, whether or not that is his or not.
Who plays with their balls in front of their kid in the ocean like that? That was kind of weird. Like, he's snorkeling with his son, and then he just, reaches in.
Dad?
And then he's like, Dad, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Anyway.
My other note is, has HBO Max cornered the market on miserable white people shows? I feel like every show that they come out with is just miserable white people, Made for Love or Mayor of Easttown. It's all just miserable white people. So good on them. This is filmed at the Four Seasons in Maui, so I was like, man, I want to go there now. So I'm looking forward to watching it. It's only going to be 6 episodes every Sunday. So there is an episode that just came out last night. We obviously didn't get a chance to watch it, but we'll wrap it up once it's over and come back and give final thoughts on it, and maybe we'll get our answers to our mystery and stuff. So I highly recommend checking it out.
Closer to episode 255. We'll be wrapping things up. It should be done by 254, but we'll tell you later why we're going to wait till 255 on that one. All right. Your Apple correspondence is back.
Oh,
I haven't gotten to do one of these in a while, actually. And Schmigadoon came out. The trailer for this tells you straight up what this is about. This couple gets lost in a musical, and it's interesting. It's very interesting. Let me tell you the cast list, if you will. Cecilia Strong, Keegan-Michael Key, Fred Armisen, Dove Cameron. On this, Kristen Chenoweth and Alan Cumming, those are your leads here. Michael Key and Strong are your leads. They're this couple. They go to a couples retreat because they're having problems. They've been together for a while, but the spark is gone. And then all of a sudden they're on this hike, and they wind up in this fantasy little town called Schmigadoon. And instantly they are thrown into a Oklahoma-style song and dance. Very Oklahoma, if you've seen that. Instead of the Oklahoma, it's Schmigadoon, immediately. So a little two-stepping and all that kind of stuff in there. And then they're in this world, and they can't get out of this world. They find out 2 episodes dropped to lead things off, which I always love when shows do that. Now give us a couple to start. By the end of it, you find out that they have to find true love to be released from this town that they are in. Is it true love with each other, though, or is it with other people? Dove Cameron of Disney fame, Liv and Maddie fame, big fan of hers. We used to watch her show all the time. Alan Cumming is fantastic in everything that he does, and he plays the mayor of this town. And then Kristen Chenoweth plays the school marm who's cracking the whip on they can't stay in the same room together because they have old style values, if you will. Yeah. And so she's kind of playing that role, which for Chenoweth is not really her style, which is really cool. The song and dances were very song and dancey. Very Oklahoma is the number one show, if you've seen that screamed out to me for the first 2 eps. And then going forward, we'll see if we get any other musicals that kind of filter into it. But very cheesy, very worth your time. Only 30 minutes for the first couple of eps, so cool. Worth it.
How many episodes will it be overall?
I think it's 6. Let me double check while I say that. Yeah, only 6 eps total.
Nice,
so,
nice.
This one actually wraps up same weekend as the other.
I remember seeing the trailer for it and thinking, oh, this looks fun. Looks like a different concept, kind of fun. So, and I like the people in it. So I'm glad you were able to check it out. I might have to try and catch up. We'll see.
Send you my password.
All right, cool. I will finish out our first take then for the week and give you my early review on American Horror Stories. Now, If
Oh,
you follow the show, I've been a fan of American Horror Story for years, and they do one season every year, kind of the same cast, and it's a full season storyline, right? This is a new concept they're trying on FX. It's FX, Hulu, whatever. It's called American Horror Stories. So they're going to do little contained stories, maybe one ep, maybe two, and give you this. And this is going to be a full season of that, just like one or two episodes of these smaller stories. So we got the first two episodes of it. I think it's only supposed to be 7. And this is still from Ryan Murphy, who did the whole American Horror Story thing. The first 2 episodes are revisiting the murder house from season 1. And if you watch season 1 of American Horror Story, there was a character in a rubber suit in that movie or in that season.
oh, right.
So this one is rubber man. So let's get the woo in quotations. So we're getting a rubber woman, and we're revisiting the house from season 1. Kind of fun, kind of cool to like go back. You got some of your familiar players from other seasons. Matt Bomer returns here. Sierra McCormick is the girl who is living in the murder house and then ends up also becoming this rubber woman throughout the 2 episodes. Very cool, man. I liked it. The Sierra McCormick, if you're not familiar, another Disney Channel girl. She was in, I forget which Disney Channel show it was, but she was in one of those. But recently she was in Vast of Night and VFW, which are both things that I reviewed on here, and I was very high on them and on her. So I like her in here. The coolest thing to me was you get some weird performances in here. You get Paris Jackson in the first episode. So Michael Jackson's kid coming in. And she was previously on an episode of Scream, the TV show, so that was kind of fun. And then Kaya Gerber is in episode 2, who is Cindy Crawford's daughter. So really interesting that they bring on these weird performances. I will say that's my biggest takeaway from the show, though, is some of the performances, some of the dialogue, things like that are kind of bad. So take that for what you will, but it's violent, it's sexual in nature, just like American Horror Story always is. So it's very true to what that show was. If you're a fan of that and of Ryan Murphy and his style, you'll like this. So go ahead and watch it. I'm interested to see what they do with the other 5 episodes or however many they're going to give us here. But it's cool. It's creepy. It's got a good score to it. That's what you expect from Ryan Murphy and his style and what these episodes are. And it kind of gives us a tease for season or where the other episode's going to go for next week. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But so far, it's just okay. But I do like this style and this brand. Gotcha. So I'll probably stick. Yeah.
Ant Farm was a Sierra McCormick's Disney show. Yeah, I had to look it up, but we did watch that one as well. She was in that one.
All these Disney kids, and then they go the complete opposite way and do these like sexual, whatever. Like there's a scene in here where she's having like a masterbation fantasy scene, and I'm like, ooh, okay, Disney Channel. See what you do.
Interesting. Someone should do a doc on all of those. I mean, it's like the Lohan and all these Ariana Grandes and all that then they have to like go the full gambit. Even Dove Cameron in Schmigadoon, she's a little floozy, if you will. And also, if you follow her Instagram, she's a little floozy, if you will.
She definitely is there, as you follow. One thing I have a question for you. Can ghosts have cell phones? Like, that's weird to me.
I guess.
Who pays for the bill? Or how does that keep going? I always wonder that. Because in the murder house, you find that if anyone's murdered there, they just continue to live there as ghosts. So then there's all these ghosts that live in the house or whatever, but they're able to talk to people through cell phones. And it's like, okay, who pays for that? It's weird.
Interesting. Gotcha.
Just a thought. All right, let me finish out our reviews for the week. I think this is the last one. And this is a classic horror story on Netflix. This is a new film that just dropped last week. It's an Italian film. I watched it with the English dub on, so I didn't have to read subtitles while watching.
Wait, horror. It's called Classic Horror Story?
It's just called a classic horror story.
Buddy, I thought when you showed me the notes and we were going over our show notes, I thought you were just saying, oh, it's a classic horror story. Like you weren't telling me the title. And you're just like, I'll let you know when we record. That's the name of it. Got it.
And it's kind of a brilliant title for it because the setup and all those things, it is very tropey. It's what you envision. So I think that's why it's titled that way.
Okay.
We start off with a van full of 5 different strangers. They're doing kind of like a rideshare thing to do this like cross-country trip. So they're in a van together on a cross-country trip. Nobody knows anybody. They get in an accident, though. And then when they kind of come out of the accident and come out of the car, there's no road. We're in the middle of the woods. Like, what the hell just happened? You're like, this is totally strange. And then it goes down a road of almost like Wicker Man or Midsummer kind of vibe, where it's like there's like this religious cult kind of thing going
Mm.
on, and we find out about a legend, and there's these paintings that they find, and there's all sorts of little exposition dumps about what's going on in this city, where they may be in these woods or whatever the case may be. So it was fine. It was fine. There's a nice little twist near the end of it that I didn't see coming, and I appreciated it. I thought it was good. So it's a standard horror movie, 2.5, 3 star kind of thing, right down the middle. Nothing
Gotcha.
amazing. It is very like gory. You do kind of get, spoiler alert, like that kind of final girl, which we all expect. Like I said, it's tropey. It's very much a
Okay.
standard horror movie. But then they also do like a little very meta thing in the credits, which I didn't see coming, where you're kind of like seeing somebody else now watching the movie of what we just watched, kind of thing. And that was interesting. I didn't see that coming. So there's some cool stuff there. It's creepy. It's not the best thing I've ever watched, though. And I definitely recommend watching it with the dub because it's easier to do. So if you want to check it out, there's Classic Horror Story on Netflix.
That's it, folks. Thank you for sticking with us with the 11 reviews. We're going to take a quick breather and be right back. All right, I'm sorry. I already told you the story, but I wanted to tell it again on for our listeners. The other day, we went to the neighbor's house. They were just letting the kids play, and so we went over and just had some beers. The adults hung out while the kids played. And their neighbor, who's this 75-plus-year-old woman, very nice lady, super friendly, chit-chatting a lot, comes over. I have on my Hoth ski resort shirt, okay? And it's just one of these silly shirts that we all have. And so it says Hoth Planet Ski Resort. So she goes, I'm a huge skier. My family, we've skied all across the world, including all across America. I have never heard of Hoth Ski Resort. Where is that located? And I was like, I felt horrible. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, old lady. We're skiers too. I like to ski, but this is not an actual place. I should have just been like, oh, well, she all around system. You know.
You should have went with it and been like, I highly recommend sleeping in the Tauntaun. It keeps
Yeah,
you warm
exactly.
all night. Kept going with it.
Oh, cripes. I felt really bad. But I wound up to tell her. I was like, Star Wars, and then we diverted. And then she told me all the.
Be careful in the caves. You might, encounter the Wampa, the local Wampa.
Yeah. Bring your lightsaber for sure. Okay, let's get rocking. What do we got leading up first? Casting couch.
Casting. I only saw a couple things this week. I think you have more than me. You're going to carry the news this week, I think, for us. But there was news about Jennifer Carpenter coming back to Dexter, cameoing, because she obviously died as well. But within that article, it said Clancy Brown is playing the season's villain. Did we ever talk about that? Because I don't remember that being a casting that I heard of.
No, that's news for sure.
So
Heard
there
on
you go.
Lithgow last week.
Yeah, it was kind of buried in the article, like, oh, hey, yeah, also Clancy Brown is in the show, and he'll be the villain. And I was like, oh, that should have been the headline of the article, not Jennifer Carpenter's cameo as a ghost, whatever. So interesting. I am highly anticipating this Dexter thing. I hope that they right the wrongs and make it good. So, and I love Clancy Brown. I think he's classic. So good move bringing him in. Other than that, I saw Gene Smart. Gene Smart is joining Babylon, the Damien Chazelle movie with Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie. So I've talked about Gene Smart every week for the last few weeks, it seems like, how much I love her. We're going to talk about her again a little bit later in the news. So that's it. I didn't really see any other kind of casting for the week. What about you?
Netflix has a film called Luckiest Girl Alive. This is starring Mila Kunis. They've just added Connie Britton, Finn Wittrock, and Scoot McNairy to the cast. She is.
I love Scoot.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Love
he's
it.
one
I
of
think
those guys,
so
like, I just want to put
underrated.
him in everything you do. Just
Yes, so
that character
underrated.
actor. Big time, big time. This is follows Kunis. She's high level, fancy, works in an office, New York City, high fashion type girl. But then she gets interviewed for some incident that happened way back in high school, and it, like, PTSD brings up all these emotions that she had, like, buried, and realizes she actually has a darker past than she recalls.
Okay, sounds good.
Could be something weighty for Kunis. I'd like to see her do something with a little more depth there.
I think she's great anyways. Like
Sure.
I think she needs more work, not just Doritos commercials or whatever the hell she's
I was
doing.
just going to say, she made that Doritos commercial great. Indiana Jones 5 has added Antonio Banderas to the cast.
Oh, really? Okay, I missed that. That's exciting.
It is.
Maybe they're doing a crossover with Zorro. That'd be awesome.
That would be insane. Banderas pulls out his sword, and then he just, like, just shoots him.
Yeah,
And then stuff.
there you go.
We will talk more Indiana Jones in the news segment later on. Going to keep you holding on there. Rosaline, This is the modern take on Romeo and Juliet. We've talked about that in the past that Caitlin Dever is going to be involved in. It's from the book that focuses more on Rosaline and not Romeo and Juliet. We have Romeo and Juliet. Kyle Allen will be Romeo, and Isabella Merced will be playing Juliet.
Okay, some kind of unknown, really.
I don't know. Kyle Allen I recognize, but yeah, it's unknown. But at least we have those. The Sympathizer is an espionage thriller coming to HBO, also partnered with A24. We love the A24. They have their lead, Mr. Robert Downey Jr.
Nice. Okay.
That's perfect. Don't give me the Doolittle thingy he did, whatever it was. Don't give me something dark here, RDJ. Remind people that you're a phenomenal actor and you're not just Tony Stark. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I still haven't watched Doolittle. I almost refused.
Is that what it was? It was Doolittle, right?
Yeah, they do free showings of movies in the summer in my neighborhood, and that was one of them. And I was like, let's pass on that one.
To him, segueing to another actor that I want to see more out of or something different, Henry Cavill has been booked in The Rosie Project. He is a college professor who is down on his luck in love, so he creates an algorithm, if you were, a questionnaire, to find the perfect woman. But then he skews the questionnaire to get the perfect answer, so that way these women fill it out, and this would find the perfect woman for him. This is different for Cavill. This is something a little off the pat. But also, he's booked Highlander. He's booked Argyle. He's done with Superman. We're never getting him back, I swear. He's too busy.
I was going to say the same. This is at least 2 weeks in a row we've talked about castings for him. That ship has sailed. You're never seeing him as Superman again.
He's booked. The guy is booked. He's going to be 45 years old before he's... I mean, good for him for now having a career outside of it.
Good for him, yeah.
Yeah. That's it with the casting couch. Let's move on to our trailer talk.
Yeah, trailers for this week, not a ton. We got Turning Red very early after we stopped recording last week. It's the next movie coming out from Pixar. I think this was smart for them because I feel like Loki kind of hit, or not Loki, Luca. Luca hit with kind of like, okay, like moderate reviews. So I think this was smart for them to be like, this is what we got next. You know, get excited about this. And I think it looks fun. I think it looks cool. I think everybody can kind of like, agree with what's going on in this trailer. Like you get embarrassed about your mom or whatever, like, or rage issues, things like that. And I like how they kind of make that into he turns into a bear or she turns into a bear or whatever. That's kind of fun to do that. A cool concept. So looks good.
Yeah. I think as parents, we all kind of like tease our kids that they have those moments, those Incredible Hulk moments or whatever. So I showed my daughter and I was like, remember when we used to tease you, you would flip out and my daughter's name is Lucy. We'd like, you would have your Lucifer moment that we. So
there you go.
Yeah, she didn't like that either.
Still have those moments myself. So. All right, let's talk about Blue Bayou. I sent you this trailer. I think this premiered at Cannes, and I've heard a lot of things about this being like maybe a Oscar-y kind of movie, and I was intrigued by it. I thought it looked like a pretty good trailer, dealing with some immigration issues, things like that, some kind of not really well-known actors and whatnot. Looks like a good movie.
Yeah, we're going to talk about white cops doing racial profiling and locking this guy up, wrongfully arrested type stuff. It comes out September 17th. It looks like it's going to be a heavy watch, but all signs from the trailer look like it's going to be good.
Yeah, I just wonder if it's going to rise above from that indie scene. Like, will it only be like a Spirit Awards player, or can it be like an Oscar-y, taken serious kind of thing? That's where we're kind of like on the fence on it.
I wonder marketing sometimes with these. Like, the trailer always opens up with Cannes, Sundance. It shows you all the festivals.
That might turn some people off, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You and I see that. I'm like, oh, great. The regular person might see that. I'm like, all right, next. But, I automatically don't care what this movie's going to be about. So I'm curious there. But.
Sure. And then I also sent you the trailer for Flea, which I've been hearing about for a little bit. I think it might have debuted at Sundance. So I've been hearing some good things for a while about this one. It's a documentary, it's animated, and it's foreign. So there's a lot of high hopes for this movie where it could be like a big nominee at the Oscars next year. And I mean, even, so animated, documentary, all those things, it could be in 3 or 4 different categories right there. Looks good. Looks good, too. Looks intriguing. Good story behind it. I'm definitely on board wanting to see it.
Yeah, same words across the board. It did do Sundance, but I missed it. But then I'm pretty sure it's at Cannes as well. It's funny. You sent it to me as I was reading an article about how don't be surprised if this gets 3 noms for Best Doc, Best Animated. But, so I definitely want to watch it if it's getting that much love already. Flea.
Yeah. And that's Flee, because at first I was like, oh, is it about a flea, like Flea? But no, it's
It's
Once you
behind the
see the trailer.
scenes of when he left Chili Peppers to film Back to the Future.
I was thinking of the little bug on like your
Sure,
dog, and I thought
sure.
it was like a little animated movie about.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh, that's a good concept. I want to see fleas running around on a
yeah.
dog's back. Don't take that idea. I might write that. Okay. Our little bit of DC that we got for the week was Titans. Titans season 3 trailer. I still never finished season 2. I kind of gave up on season 2. But I will say this trailer made me think, maybe I should go finish season 2 because this looks pretty good.
Yeah, I loved the end of season 2. I highly recommend you catch up, especially because now this trailer it shows you freaking Robin getting killed by the Joker in the trailer. It's fantastic. And then we have Barbara Gordon. I guess she's going to be Oracle now because she's Commissioner Gordon in this, but it looks like she'll be Oracle. It looks like we're getting a lot more of old Batman. What's his name from Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Can't think of his name. The actor's
Sure.
name. Sorry. Which is fine because I didn't really like him in season 2. Well, first of all, he didn't do Batman. He was just Bruce Wayne. But it looks like we're projecting Nightwing to kind of take over and all the good things I was liking.
Getting some Red Hood in there, too, it looked like, right?
Yeah. Which, I mean, how fast are we going to move here? It's like episode 1, we kill Robin. Episode 4, Red Hood shows up. To me, that's a quick turnaround. Or maybe, like, the Red Hood we saw isn't going to be until the end, and that leads you to season 4. I'm overthinking a trailer. Either way, look good.
Yeah. Because I remember season 1 just being kind of like okay, and they kind of like rushed through the end, and then I was on the fence about getting to season 2, and then season 2 didn't grab me right away, and I think they had just introduced Deadshot when I kind of stopped watching. I think so. I only made maybe 3 or 4 episodes in, or whatever it was, and then I kind of gave up. So now I'm like, maybe I should catch up though to get to season 3. It looks good. So, all right, and then lastly, I kind of threw this in here, but we got another look at Free Guy, but this time it was with Korg and Deadpool giving us like a reaction to watching the trailer. Kind of fun, kind of a unique twist. Also, like our first introduction of Deadpool into the MCU, like having him interact with other characters. So that's kind of fun.
They're on that. They're on that timeline. I'm getting choked up here. They're now on that time variant. They're on that timeline. Now they're together, and it makes Deadpool canon, I guess now, right? Maybe.
Yeah. And it's fun because Taika is in Free Guy, so it makes sense to do that from a marketing standpoint.
Yeah.
Good job,
good
Marvel.
On Taika for doing it. Like Taika and Reynolds both did it, together.
Well, and I saw some negative about it because this is like Disney buying up Marvel, buying up Fox. We're merging all the worlds together, and some people are not happy with this because I watched the I don't know if you watched the short that was released on Disney Plus, The Good, the Bad, and the Loki. I think it was called. And it's Loki going to the Simpsons world and being in Springfield, and it's like 5 minutes long, whatever. But I saw some real bad like reviews on it, like, oh, I hate this, that they're merging Marvel characters with the Simpsons, whatever. But I was like, I had fun with it. I thought it was kind of funny, quick little 5-minute thing. Sure. I'm okay with this. Like, it's cool to me. So it almost makes the Simpsons like relevant again. Like, hey, we can do new things with the Simpsons.
I really like the Simpsons Star Wars one where Maggie went to the Star Wars school. I thought that was fun.
From an app, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, check it out on Disney Plus if you get a chance. The Good, the Bad, and Loki. It's not bad. So. But yeah, that was it for trailers for the week, I think.
Taking a second break, and we'll be right back for the final act of our show. Guys, ratings and reviews, they do help out the show. We just got a new rating and review recently. We read it a couple of weeks on air. We would love another one from you. 5 stars. Honestly, it does help the show grow. And don't forget to follow us on all the socials, at Take Two Podcast for Twitter and Facebook, Instagram. There's 2 Facebook things there, just our regular Take Two Podcast page, and then the group page for all that interactivity amongst the fans, Take Two Universe. Definitely join that page today. You ready for some Hollywood news?
I am. Let's get into the heavy news of the week, I guess, more than anything, is the Emmy nominations came out. That's probably our biggest discussion point for the week. Let's see. Let's start it off with Disney. 146 nominations, breaking their own record. So that's the most ever by a single company. And a big part of that was their Disney Plus. Because I think last year they only got like 19 nominations from Disney Plus. This year they got like 70. So it was like insane. And that's just going to continue. Your big getters of the week here were Mandalorian with 24 nominations, The Crown with 24 nominations, Ted Lasso with 20, WandaVision with 23. So those are all some pretty big, Queen's Gambit got 18, Mayor of Easttown 16, Hacks 15, Hamilton 12. So all things that we've talked about very heavily on here and gushed over. I think The Crown is maybe the only one we really haven't talked that much about on here or watched it. Maybe we, just like Succession, maybe we need to catch up on that. We keep saying that. So
at this point,
maybe,
no, we're never
yeah,
going
exactly. We're not going to. But the one thing I thought was interesting, the one article I read said that Netflix still has not won Best Drama for the Emmys.
Yeah.
So this might be the year for that, though. The Crown coming in with 24, and that's a hot thing. You think it'll win it, Best Drama?
I think, is this the final season of Crown?
I
Or we have one more.
I think they're doing 6 seasons, I thought.
That'll get it. The sixth one will be it. They'll reward them. We'll do one of those jobs.
Yeah. We got Don Cheadle got nominated for his 90-second cameo in Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's ridiculous to me.
Did you see him? He was even like...
He was like, I don't get it. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because I looked that up, too. I think the shortest one ever was like 15 seconds that somebody was on a show and they got nominated. It's like, what?
Wow.
That's insane. So, whatever. We got 2 shows that are canceled got nominations. Lovecraft got 18 nominations, not coming back. And then Zoe's Extraordinary Christmas also has been canceled. That got a couple nominations in there. The show will be on September 19th. We're probably going to talk about it a little bit more up until then.
Sure.
Carl Weathers, there is another one that stood out. He's 73, got his first nomination.
Yeah.
MJ Rodriguez was the first trans woman to get a lead acting nomination from Pose. Bowen Yang is the first Chinese American man to get a supporting actor nomination, and he's also the first SNL featured player to ever get a nomination, so that's cool. Mm-hmm. This is also something fun I didn't know. Courtney Cox, first time getting nominated for Friends. She never got nominated for Friends when the show was on. She was the only actor of the crew, and she got nominated for the Friends special because she's a producer. Wow. I never knew that, though, that she never got nominated. I mean, everybody else got nominated, and she never did.
I just would have assumed one of those seasons she would have gotten.
It said, like, fantastic. I think it said, like, Aniston got, like, 6 nominations. Kudrow got, like, 5. She never got one. And then even the guys, it was like Joey got 3. The other 2 got, like, maybe 1 or whatever. But it was like, yeah, for whatever reason, she never got nominated till now for doing this special.
Insane.
Did you see anything else, though, from the Emmys that was, like, standing out?
Well, so you're going to have a little controversy. Felicia Rashad getting her 3rd straight nomination, obviously, her comments about Cosby. So we'll probably hear more about that later on. 20 for Ted Lasso. That is the most for a first season comedy. It beat out Glee. 22 is the most any season for a comedy. 30 Rock owns that record. So just missed that, which I thought was pretty wild.
And cool that they had 4 actors in the same category, right? For supporting, I think, right?
Yeah.
And kind of like unknown, really, actors, too. Like, these are first nominations for a lot of these people, which is cool.
Yeah, big time. 3 different people got double noms.
Yeah.
Gene,
baby!
She got for Hacks and Mayor of Easttown. A.D. Bryant got for Shrill and then the SNL guest appearance. And then Kenan Thompson for his work on SNL and then his show Kenan. So that's pretty wild. That's pretty cool.
Yes, I like it.
And then I think you had everything else. Yeah, 73rd Emmys. They will be on September 19th. So we'll be chatting about it on your favorite network of Stars, CBS.
Yeah, we're not gonna do a whole rundown of the nominations. We'll recap it once the show happens. But like we said, you've heard most of these shows gushed about on here. So listen to our show. We know what we're talking about. We're watching the good stuff, right? We're telling you what you need to watch.
That was I even tweeted it from our show account. Like as they were being announced, I was like, that one. I was like, holy crap! All these shows that we have raved about on here. Hacks is one. My sister got turned on to Hacks recently, and she was texting. I was like, you should listen to our podcast.
Yeah, I love that show. So
yeah.
Good stuff. Maybe I'll try and catch up on some of the under the radar stuff before the show in September. We'll see. All right, and then the other big kind of movie thing of the week was Cannes. Cannes finished up. I don't know if you saw the big controversy of the final thing. They do they do like an award show at the end, and I think it's Sharon Stone was like at the lectern, and she's like, "All right, Spike Lee," and they do everything in French and English, and she like blah 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 blah, and then she's like, "Spike Lee, can you give us the first prize?" And he's like, well, Titan wins the Palme d'Or. And it's like, oh, no, wait a minute. He wasn't supposed to say that. So he gave the last award away. He confused it with first prize as like first place or whatever, and announced the winning, the overall winning film, Titan, as the first award given, not typically done. So that was a big snafu. Also, that is notable because that's only the second female-directed film to ever win the Palme d'Or. So kind of cool there.
Interesting.
A lot of the movies, though, that were mentioned and talked about at Cannes are not going to be big Oscar players, I don't think. Just looking at the list, maybe some foreign film, things like that that will come our way, but for the most part, it's not a big U.S. film or things that you need to pay attention to. They did have a big thing with them too during the week as they're debuting movies is their standing ovations, right? And everybody reports on that. What films got the most standing ovations and blah blah blah. So I will say French Dispatch, although it didn't win any awards, it got a 9-minute standing ovation. So,
wow.
That is so long. Can you imagine? My hands would hurt clapping that long. It's ridiculous. Do you know what the record is?
I would hope it would have been 9. It's longer.
22 minutes for Pan's Labyrinth. That's the longest standing ovation ever. 22 minutes.
Why? That's ridiculous.
That's insane. So, anyways, French Dispatch got a 9-minute.
I saw that Adam Driver lit a cigarette during the standing ovation.
Yes. And then Best Director went to the director of Annette. So just that we've talked about that film a little bit. We've seen the trailer, maybe. Sure. And I think that one's coming next month to Amazon Prime. Okay. So they are doing the little theatrical, I think, release first to make it Oscar-y and things like that. But cool on them. And the initial tweets about that movie, the reaction to that movie, were all over the place though. This thing is crazy, it's batshit. I guess there's a scene where Kylo Ren takes a break from eating a woman out to sing.
All right.
So I was like, that's cool. Now I want to see this movie even more if we're gonna have that little, cunnilingus karaoke, I guess maybe should be the title of the episode.
Sorry.
But yeah, other than that, a couple other notable things. Caleb Landry Jones won Best Actor for the movie Nitram. So that's cool. Yeah. He's kind of a well-known young actor, to American audiences. So good on him that he got that. But yeah, that's it. Most of these other movies are not going to be well-known to American audiences, and we'll see if any of them have staying power come, Oscar time. I could see Red Rocket, which is directed by Sean Baker. His movies usually get a little attention come Oscar time, so maybe look for that one when that comes out. But otherwise, a lot of it was very strange and kind of off the beaten path, and maybe that's what they were looking for this year, because I heard that Titane is very crazy and all over the place. And the initial response to that was also very skewed and wow, this is nuts. So a lot of crazy movies this year at Cannes. So
Okay.
So that's it for Cannes. Maybe this should have been announced in our casting. This is a negative casting, a minus casting. Nick Cage no longer playing Joe Exotic.
Oh no! How did I miss this? Wow, what happened?
So bummed. Yeah, I'm so bummed by this. They said Amazon just decided to shelve the project. So it's over for now. I'm wondering if just because, we had talked before, you have competing projects, maybe they just thought it wasn't the right time to do it and stepped away from it. So
that's the one I wanted to watch.
Yeah. On August 25th, we will be getting a special episode on Disney Plus all about the season 2 finale of Mandalorian.
Nice.
So we already got kind of that behind the scenes one they always do at the end of the season, but this is a special one just on that last episode, really looking behind the scenes of bringing back Luke Skywalker and how they were able to do that. Yeah, so so that's cool.
That's a Wednesday. Okay, cool. That's Disney Plus's day, Wednesday.
It's their day, man. Yeah. The director of WandaVision, Matt Shakman, has been tapped to direct the next Star Trek movie. And apparently with Chris Pine and all those original cast members coming back, that's what they want to do. So
cool.
Which is weird. We've now had 3 or 4 different Star Trek kind of news, Tarantino's going to do one, or we're going to do this over here. So take this with a grain of salt, whether it gets off the ground or not. But this was reported by Deadline, so they're usually pretty reliable as far as what they're doing. So I guess that's what they're doing moving forward with the new Star Trek. And then lastly for me, The Continental, we talked about this before. It was going to be a series spinoff of John Wick. They are now doing it as a event series of 3 90-minute presentations, so almost 3 mini movies in that John Wick universe. It's a prequel just dealing with the Continental, which is the hotel where all these assassins work out of, whatever. And director Albert Hughes has signed on to do 2 of them out of the 3, and he's overseeing kind of the whole project. So kind of cool.
Cool. Book Could Be Lie, right? He did that, yeah, I believe, right?
Yes, that was one of the ones. Yep.
Cool. Okay. Very nice. You mentioned Mandalorian a second ago. Mandalorian Season 3, folks, in production now as we speak. They've gotten things rolling. Very nice.
That's good. There was a lot of people that were like, I don't think we're getting another Mandalorian episode or season because of the Boba Fett thing. Like, a lot of people took that as like, we're not doing any more Mandalorian. I was like, no, I think they are.
I thought, I don't know. I thought at the time it was just they're pushing it. Mando we're getting in January.
We're getting Boba Fett, I think, in December.
In that December slot, and then they're just going to push it, which is fine.
Cool.
Indiana Jones Part 5, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, we announced is going to be in it. We were curious who she's going to be playing. She's going to be playing Brody's daughter.
Okay.
So Indy's older buddy Brody from the original 3 or whatever. This is his daughter, so I don't know. Torch passing of not the right character.
Yeah, that's intriguing. We'll see.
Yeah.
I like her, though, and I'm glad to have her as part of the cast.
Yeah, and she might only be in it for 5 minutes, so who knows. You mentioned Joey Tribbiani earlier. Jenna Fisher mentioned on her The Office podcast that she does that she lost a role in his show Man with a Plan that he did. Can't think of his damn name. The actor's name. I can't think of his name. Tribbiani's.
Joey. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so Joey Tribbiani. Why can't I think of his name? Anyway, we'll think of it as soon as you say.
He's not Matthew. That's the other guy.
Not Matt Perry. The other guy. Yeah. Wow, this sucks. I should know the guy's name. Picture his face. I can picture his fat Uncle Belly from the special. Anyway, so she booked the role and was supposed to play his wife. And test audiences came back and said, we just can't see Pam and Joey being a couple. And when we watch it, it's too much. So she lost the role. They moved on. Yeah, kind of a bummer that people didn't see past that. So she lost the role. Another little quick fun fact that I heard off of another...
It is Matt. It's Matt LeBlanc.
Matt LeBlanc. That's it. There we go. James Gandolfini was offered to take over in The Office when Carell was leaving.
I saw that. Yeah, that's crazy. They paid him not to do it or something, right?
He wanted to do it. They offered him $4 million to take over for one season. He was going to be the boss. To take over for Carell's character. And then HBO came in, the Sopranos people came in and said, no, we'll give you $3 million to not do it because we need to keep the legacy of Tony Soprano. We don't do this comedy thing. We need you to be that. Forever.
I personally would have loved to see that, though, because I don't love Spader, but I think Gandolfini would have done something similar to what Spader did, and I think it would have been cool. I think he would have been better.
Yeah. You got to wonder where Gandolfini's head was at in weighing that total decision. And $3 million to not.
It makes sense.
Sure.
Pay me not to work. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, as far as all right, I guess I just will have to own being Tony Soprano if it's gonna stop me from doing these comedy roles, whatever. But okay, that's it. We're done with our Hollywood news. Let's move forward. Remember, folks, we don't have DC or Marvel this week, so we're going straight to our going forward.
Going forward, kind of packed this week, actually. I got a lot written down here. We had talked about that Blood Red Sky on Netflix, the trailer. At least I watched it and talked about it. So I may watch that this week. It's coming out on Netflix. So you might get another little horror review from me next week. I love the little horrors. We got Loki Assembled coming out this Wednesday. A big Disney Plus day on Wednesday, actually. So I'm going to watch that. Turner and Hooch will have its first episode, as well as Behind the Attraction, which is a new documentary series looking at iconic rides at Disney World and going behind the scenes. And I can't wait to watch that. That's going to be great.
Same.
We are getting Ted Lasso Season 2 this week. So what do you think? Should we do a first take on a second season, or do we just wait until the season's over and review it? We already know we like the show. What else?
That's true. We could wait for the whole thing. Yeah.
We'll
Especially since they're just giving us one. They're doing the 1 a week drops.
1 a week, sure.
Which I meant to ask you. I feel like we've turned the corner and we're almost fully back to that.
And people like it. There's been a swell of this is good. I like this.
Yeah.
I think the Disney Plus thing has done that to it.
Yeah.
I think their model has made people want to come back around. And these Marvel shows, people are like, yes, now we get to talk about it every week. We get a week to dissect stuff. So,
I'm liking the ones that give you 2 to 3 eps drop first.
At the beginning, sure.
And then, and then week me out the remaining 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah.
Sure. All right. We're also getting LeVar Burton is hosting Jeopardy. So I just want to throw that out there. That's all next week, the 26th through the 30th. So go watch it because I want him to take over as the new host. Yeah. And the only reason he's going to is if we get the ratings. So go watch Jeopardy next week.
There it is.
Also, Friday morning, set your DVRs for 7 a.m. because that's the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. So there you go. I didn't realize it was 7 a.m. I was like, what? 7 a.m. Friday? That's too early. So there you go. We're getting the Masters of the Universe Revelation on Netflix. So we'll have a first take on that for next week. We also get Movies That Made Us, Season 2. We talked about that. That's coming out. Talk about that next week. Jolt is hitting Prime. If I have some time, I'll probably try and check that out. That's a Kate Beckinsale movie. The Woodstock documentary is going to be on HBO, so I will definitely check that out. Woodstock 99, that is. And then in the theater, we have Old and Snake Eyes, both dropping this weekend. Big weekend at the theater. I am going to actively try to go see Old, I think. I think that's the one I want to see the most. So if I can get to the theater to see that, I will give you a review of that next week. We'll see. We're also getting, for Roy, I just want to shout this out, Troll Hunters, Rise of the Titans is hitting Netflix. I know he's big on that stuff. I'm sure he'll talk about that on his next episode of The Realm, which should be coming next weekend, I think. So
yes, sir. Yeah.
There you go, Troll Hunters for him. And then Sexy Beasts is hitting Netflix this week. Have you seen the trailer for this?
No. Should I have?
Oh my God, this looks like such a nightmare train wreck. It's The Bachelor, but if it's Masked Singer. All the people are wearing crazy headpieces and makeup and stuff. It looks amazing.
And they go on dates, but in costume, right?
Yes, yes, it looks amazing. I usually don't like these kind of things, but this just looks so ridiculous over the top. I'm kind of intrigued to watch it now. So, Sexy Beasts on Netflix. So there you go. Lots of stuff going forward for this week.
On Thursday for Take Two Podcast, you will get our poll that drops on Thursday. Be ready to vote on that. Share it across your socials if you don't mind. Facebookers, you guys are on our Facebook. If you see it, vote there. Comment below. Give that some love if you do not mind. On Saturday, a brand new spotlight drops. It is on an actor who has been in both DC and Marvel and a lot of commercials.
Yes. And he has an Oscar.
And that too. That's true. If that's not your tempo, on Sunday, The Realm of Take Two is back, and that gives you your monthly drop. Comes out this Sunday. You get The Realm for its July session. And here's the shtick, folks. You just heard all of those things that come out this weekend to be watched. Next week, episode 250 is going to be a Tony Han Solo episode all by his lonesome. I'm out of town, not going to be there, but we're going to keep the streak alive. I'll tell you right now, if he reviews the movies that made us with Back to the Future without me, I'll be mad.
Hey, you went on vacation.
No, go to Old. Go see Old. Watch Woodstock. All that other bullshit. But no, folks, next week you're going to get Tony all by himself. In 4 weeks, you're going to get me all by myself, episode 254-ish. I say we have a ratings war. Let's see which one gets more or less downloads.
There we go.
Put them up against each other. But don't worry, I will be back on the following week, just out of town for a little bit. Tony's going to carry the load if you don't mind. Guys, social it up at Take Two Podcast for Twitter, 434-602-1931. You can text or leave a voicemail on there. And then, of course, Facebook, Instagram, join there. Ratings and reviews, we do appreciate them very much.
Yeah. So I'm excited to tackle that challenge next week. I was being nice by saying I'm not going to talk about Ted Lasso.
Oh, that was my bone you threw me? Thank you.
That's it. I'm not going to touch Ted Lasso. That's your territory. But movies that made us, I don't know. If I watch it, I watch it.
Jerks my chain. Hey, man, should we not talk about it since it's a season 2? Kiss my ass. Okay. I'll take it. Yep.
There you go.
No Ted Lasso first.
So, yeah. But it will be fun. And like we said, we want to do that for you guys. We do our summer breaks, but we still keep the show every week. So we're going to go make sure that happens for you. Hopefully you still enjoy it. Maybe there will be some little surprise guests or whatnot. Maybe it might not just be me.
Oh.
We'll see.
Challenge accepted. Okay.
But
all right, for episode 249. Have a great night, everybody.
See ya.